Assalamu alaikum brothers, I've created a video here for you and it's entitled What Breaks Wudu. So, what breaks your wudu? Well, simply put, things exiting the body break your wudu, while on the other hand, on the opposite side, things entering the body break your fasting. So again, what breaks wudu? Well, we said that things exiting the body break wudu, but things can exit from the sabilain or from the ghair sabilain. Now, what's the sabilain? The sabilain is a plural word and it basically means the two private parts, the front or the back. So the ghair sabilain is everything else. It basically means when things exit not from the two private parts. So exiting from any other part of the body. So when we talk about the sabilain, the exiting of what are we saying? What are we talking about? We're talking about the exiting of anything, right? Najasat or not najasat. So if it's impure or not, the exiting of anything will break your wuzu when it's exiting from the sabilain. For example, urine, stool, or wind. Another example, stones or worms exiting from the sabilain. Another example is wadi, mazi, or money. And what are these? Well, wadi is a thin fluid that's discharged after urination. And mazi is a thin fluid that's discharged during sexual foreplay. And money is basically the thick fluid that's discharged due to sexual ejaculation, i.e. sperm. So that's what breaks your wudu if those things exit from the sabilain, the private parts. But what about from the ghair sabilain? Well, okay, here it's only the exiting of najasat. So back there it was the exiting of anything, now it's the exiting of najasat. So here, for example, we're talking about blood, pus, or bile. But the blood, these must be enough so that it would actually flow and flow onto a wudu or ghusl region of the body, which is basically any external part of the body, the nose or the mouth. So as an example, if a leech was to suck a lot of blood out of you, enough that would have flown, then yes, that breaks your wudu. On the other hand, if a mosquito just bites you and only takes a little bit of blood out, then no, that doesn't break your wudu. What about blood in the mouth? Well, blood in the mouth, when that comes, the blood must be more than the saliva part, and then yes, your wudu is broken. What about a blood clot? Because a clot doesn't flow, right? But if it's a complete mouthful, then yes, that will break your wudu. Similarly for a vomit. If you vomit, then that must be a mouthful, and it can be a mouthful of water or food or bile, and that will break your wudu. So what about liquids from other parts of the body like the ear, the eye, the navel, or the nipple? Well, yes, if that liquid is due to an illness, for example, an ulcer, a pimple, or infection. So if it's due to an illness, then yes, it's impure and it will break your wudu. What about mucus and phlegm? Well, no, that doesn't break your wudu. Neither the mucus from the brain nor the mucus from the stomach, neither of them break your wudu. So to summarize it up, when it's from the sabilain, exiting of anything breaks your wudu, whether it's najasat or not. When it's from the ghair sabilain, any other parts of the body, then the exiting of najasat only will break your wudu. For example, blood and vomit. So again, what breaks your wudu? Well, there's one more thing. Yes, it's the exiting of things from the body, but it's also certain states of the body. So what have we said so far? We've said that the exiting from the sabilain will break your wudu, in other words, the private parts. The exiting from the ghair sabilain will break your wudu. And the sabilain were the two private parts, and the ghair sabilain were basically everything else. And it's the exiting of anything from the sabilain that breaks your wudu, whereas on this side, it's the exiting of najasat only that breaks your wudu. But there's something else. There's these certain states of the body that can also break your wudu. For example, unconsciousness. So where you may faint, or you may fall asleep, or you may pass out. Also intoxications. And these are intoxications that basically cause one to stumble. And the example here is alcohol or other drugs. And also going mad. So again, things that are affecting your brain. And the other one is kahkaha, which is loud laughter. And this loud laughter will break your wudu except if you're doing sajda tilawat or salat janaza. And when I say loud laughter, I mean where the person next to you can actually hear you. And the last one is mubasharate fahisha, which is basically when the male penis is touching the female private part. So this ends the video. I hope that it has been helpful for you. I thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum.